Oh,
I am here with Omar, and today we are going to talk about how how our business and how land investors in general have done throughout COVID. And so that's the topic for today. Before I get into it, I want to mention if you are interested in getting started in the land investing business, please visit landinvestingpros.com. We are the pros of land investing, and we've got a lot of information there for you, free webinar. And if you're not watching this from our Land Flipping Formula Facebook group, please join there. It's a great group and a lot of value to be provided. So with that, Omar, how's it going? How's everything going with you?
everything's going good. It's another day as a land investor, another day, another good day.
That's great. I love it. You always got the shirt on. It's always good to have the spirit of
Yeah,
land investing.
somebody's got to wear the shirt.
Yeah, Paul gave it to me, and I just have never worn it once. So I've let him down pretty bad. So they
Yeah,
look pretty
no.
cool. I should wear it. I don't even know what it is, to be honest. But um, all right. So I guess people will be trickling on, and
Do we have anybody in yet? How many people do we have in yet?
yeah, so we've got a couple people. I think we're people. It'll take a little time for people to come on, but um, all right. So yeah, I mean, I guess I can get started. Maybe rattle off a little bit about my experience, what I've been obviously talking to land investors regularly about their investing during COVID, and um, and then maybe you can go into a little bit about your background and your experience through COVID, and then we can hopefully people will log on and start asking questions. So again, if anyone has any questions on topic, off topic, if you want a deal to be reviewed, please send a deal. I'll review the deal live. Um, anything, anything sounds good. So yeah, I guess I'll get into yeah what we've been going on. So we have our business has since COVID, I guess really since March. That's kind of when it started to get real in the United States. I remember the date for me specifically, it was March 10th. Was when I realized, wow, this is going to change things, and so and that's the day I was like, okay, this no one's going to be buying anything going forward. Like this like no one's going to be buying anything for months, if not years. And to my surprise, and thankfully, I was very wrong. That people did not stop buying at all, and people gravitated towards buying land. And the overwhelming feedback that we got from buyers was that, hey, I do not feel comfortable living in a crowded city anymore, and that I would like to, in fact, move out and into more rural areas and undeveloped areas. And this niche is great because, I mean, we're buying in the areas where there's opportunity and where the people are building, and this accelerated that trend in a lot of the markets that we're dealing in. People really started to want to expedite the growth of those areas, and so we got overwhelming feedback from buyers that hey, we were not purchasers, we were not buyers in the previous market, but now we want to get out, and now we want to start building and getting a place where we can eventually move on, and so it has really done good things for our business in terms of sales. And I mean, we've been hitting record months, month over month, and we really don't see we haven't really seen any slowdown because due to COVID. So I mean that's been my experience. And Omar, how have you been doing throughout this?
So honestly, like I want to say, like since I started till right now, the biggest boom I had was in COVID. Like everyone was like saying, no, like oh, you're gonna have a lot of downtime, like a lot of downtime. That's exactly right. When people have downtime, they started buying properties out of nowhere. I think that just took me, but I was just like, wait a second, like is that really happening? And people just really like started coming and buying properties left and right because it's just everyone was home. A lot of people weren't working. A lot of people got laid off. So but the people that got laid off and weren't working were the people in the cities. The major cities. So everyone was trying to like get out of there. So it's like as soon as COVID really hit, we saw this huge boom. Everyone's buying land, in the middle of nowhere, away from everyone. Like that was the question. Like, oh, is this in the middle of pretty much nowhere? Like they wanted to kind of get outside of the city and be like in the trees and kind of hidden, just be away from everyone because that was just like, oh, it's COVID, I don't want to be near you. So that's
Yeah.
honestly, I saw a huge increase of that.
No, I totally agree. So similar experiences from both of us. And it looks like we got Andrew on. He says, "What up, guys? Really hitting those PRs in the Peloton." Yeah, so I've been using it. If you guys can't see behind me, I've been using that. I got that a couple months ago and been riding it a couple times a week, and I really like it. So I don't know. This is not a Peloton commercial by any means. That just happens to be. This just happens to be where I film, and that happens to be where the bike is parked. So. Yeah, I do like it. So do you have one, Andrew? You got a Peloton? You riding? What's your username? I could find you. I'll find you.
You guys could ride together.
We could ride together. Yeah, so he's got one. He says I love mine. Yeah. Yeah. How often do you ride? How often are you riding, Andrew? I'm curious. And how long have you had it? I've found a lot of friends who either have them or recently bought them or are looking to buy them in the near future. And so it's definitely a growing trend, just like land investing.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I was gonna say just like land investing. Everyone's trying to get into it. Everyone wants to be a land investor.
I guess it's beating him up. So that's good. And looks like we got a question here from Backpacker on YouTube. Do you have a business profile set up that you use for marketing on Facebook Marketplace, or do the VAs use their personal accounts? So what are you doing for this, Omar?
So I have my own profile, but the VA runs my profile. So it's like I gave my VA the password and everything. So when it comes to listings, when it comes to ads, the VA does it all. It's just I do the last approval. So like I'll have the VA send me the listing before she sends it out, and I'm like, okay, yeah, send it out. So I just look at it and make sure like I'm agreeing with what is going on the listing or just whatever she's posting, whether it's an ad, whether it's a property. I just want to make sure I know and I like the ad specifically. But the VA pretty much does everything. I just set up the profile in my personal profile.
Yeah. So I agree with that. So we use we've been using my personal account, and it's kind of ridiculous how a lot of people are having trouble with Facebook, and I guess people are getting their Facebook account shut down. I just had someone text me, a student, older student. He just texted me, "Hey, are you having problems with Facebook?" And the answer for us is astonishingly, I've never had any issues. I've never been shut down. There was one 24-hour period where we were shut down because Facebook. I'm not really sure what happened, but I guess they reviewed it and they understood that everything was legitimate. So I think if you have like a more active Facebook account or you have some history to your Facebook account, you're way less likely to get shut down. And if you're active in doing things, and I think it helps that being like administrators of groups and stuff, I think that helps, and they like look at you and, oh, this person seems to be real. So I think that's probably what's been happening there. But in terms of who's managing it, we have probably, and the reason it's shocking to me that we have not been shut down is that we have probably, I don't even know how many people log into my Facebook. It's like VAs are logging in, uploading properties, and then we've got salespeople on there who are selling properties, and then you have me on there who's like using it for other purposes. So there's like a number of different IP addresses that are all accessing one Facebook account. And I've never had to create a business account. I've never had to do anything along those lines. And yeah, I can't even tell you how many listings are on my Facebook Marketplace thing. I don't know if any get taken down. I don't know if we're marking them as sold. I don't know what the deal is, but we have not had any issues. And yeah, so the VA, I think it's good to use your personal account, and so you can log in and access and check what the VAs are doing at every time. So if you're like Omar and you're having the VAs actually respond to a lot of the people, which I think is a great idea, and I think it's great that you're doing that. I think it's good to have it from your own Facebook account, because then you could just log in, easy access, and then it is a credible account. I mean, if your VAs are posting from a credible account, I don't see any major issue with that. And if you are one of those people who's having problems with Facebook and getting your account shut down, I would say, hey, yeah, go use use your VA's Facebook account and get that set up, because then you could actually have your listings live and maybe see if they could give you a login. I'm not really sure exactly how that would work, but I think either way works. But we've been personally using ours or mine. So Andrew's been riding 3 days a week. So you're beating me. I'm probably at 1 to 2. I'm probably at 2. So
Andrew's
got it
riding that
for
bike.
yeah, got it for my girlfriend to use it just as much. Haha, I love it. That's great. Yeah, you Omar, you're just wakeboarding, is that right? For your
Yeah, no, I
exercise?
was. Yeah, that's honestly the best. Once you come down here, you'll know what I'm talking about, Willie. That's
All
that's
right.
the best thing you could do.
Yeah.
We got Paul to
What
do
else?
it. You got to do it.
Paul doesn't do anything.
No,
Does he go wakeboarding?
he does. Yeah, no, he likes it. It took
All right.
honestly, it took us like 2 days to get him up, but he got up. If Paul could do it, you could
Okay.
do it.
Actually, he has sent me some videos of him getting up on that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm down. I will definitely be getting up on there.
we'll
What
see
else do
about
you do
that.
to stay active? You
I work out. I work out twice a day. I go for a run, and then I work out at night at the end of my day to really just get that edge off. So like I'll go to the gym at like 9. From 9 to 11, I put my phone away. I just drink pre-workout and hammer that workout.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Omar is yoked. He is actually shredded, benches 300 pounds, and squats 500
About
pounds.
right. It's honestly
And
that's accurate.
yeah, so learning new things about Omar. Andrew says, by the way, tuned into the Airtable podcast. Great insight. It's kicking my butt as well, but I'm slowly getting more comfortable with it. Yeah, so for those of you who are not part of the Land Flipping Formula Facebook group, there was a comment asking to go over Airtable, and so I created a podcast episode. If you're not subscribed to the Fire Your Boss Real Estate podcast, I encourage you to do so. I'm actively posting on there different content. It used to be the same content as what we're doing right now, but I'm now creating new content and trying to make it a little bit more interesting. So for those unsubscribed, please subscribe to Fire Your Boss Real Estate podcast. Scott Morris says, when you post on Marketplace, are you posting in miscellaneous or as a home? I don't know if I know the answer to this. Omar, do you know what you're posting in?
I've honestly, personally, like I want to say I don't know the right answer because I've done both. So I really don't think it matters. But for the most part, I've done both because if you go and look it up, land will pop up in either one. But home, it's like when you look up home, there's a lot of big like homes that are on there, so it's like you really don't want to post there. But for the most part, I don't really do that anymore. So it's like I don't really know what the answer to that. But when I did it, I did miscellaneous for a while, and it worked fine with me.
Yeah, so our VAs do our postings. I can honestly say I have not posted Facebook Marketplace listing in probably 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
And so my assumption would be that it would be in home and not miscellaneous. I would probably put it into whatever category real estate is in. And home sounds like real estate, so that's probably where I would put it. But I think you'll probably get activity in both. That's what I would think. And yeah, and if you want our VAs to do your postings for you, can go to landvas.com and we have our VAs available. Lisa says, is there a site where I can access any APN from any state and county? Is there a site where I can access any APN from any state and county? Omar, you want to handle this?
Yeah, data tree. You can go on data tree. I mean, I don't know if you have access to data tree, Lisa, but if you don't, I highly recommend that you get data tree through us because we give you a huge discount. So if you don't have data tree, that's where you can access any state, any APN in any county.
Yeah, so data tree, throw up the county APN and then just paste it in, and then it'll pull up the parcel so you can see it, do your diligence. That is also another plug for LandVAs. LandVAs.com, you can get access to the cheapest source for data tree, month by month pricing, no contracts. Like if you go to datatree.com, you'll have to sign up for a longer contract. I think it's 12 months with our data tree on LandVAs.com. Sign up month to month. Backpacker says, great, thanks, awesome. So let's see, Facebook user, and darn it, is it showing up in the group? I want to see who it is. Let me pull it up. Or you want to read it while I pull this up?
Same question. I've been forced to go to miscellaneous as the housing category will not work for land as far as I can see. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I personally I've used miscellaneous a couple of times and it's worked fine. But as of right now, me and Willie on the same page, I don't really post any of my properties anymore. The land VAs do it for us.
Yeah. So that question was from Steve Kish. So Steve, hopefully that answers your question. Lisa says, do you target probate land properties? And if so, how? So we personally do not target probate properties. Omar, do you want to describe the process and how we go about choosing areas, choosing markets, and then actually getting the data? And sometimes there's probate, sometimes there's not.
Yeah, so what we do is we basically look at the comps. Yeah, at the beginning, you start to look for a market. So you want to look at the comps. You want to see if there's a big, blob of data in that specific area. So you would go to the different websites like Zillow and LandWatch and narrow down the polygon. So you're really focusing and hitting a specific area. So you're not hitting anything that you don't want to potentially pick up. So I personally I like to like hone in on a small area with a lot of data. So a lot of sold data and a lot of for sale data. So you want to compare the comps and see if the prices are in your price ranges, and then if they are, and if that's the county you want to choose, then you choose that.
Yeah, so I 100% agree with Omar. What we do differently than any other group out there, any other course out there, is we are market focused, and we don't care if we're hitting the tax delinquent list. We're certainly not going to hit a probate list or anything along those lines. We only care about the market that we're hitting, and so we're going to hit all the owners in an area where we want to buy, because if there's a good market there, we want to buy the property there, and we're not going to discriminate against the type of owner, if it's tax delinquent or probate, because at the end of the day, all these owners are owner unoccupied. In house wholesaling, that is literally a list you will pull is owner unoccupied. The owner does not live there, but that is every single vacant land list. So every single vacant land list, whether it's probate, tax delinquent, or just how we do it in a specific market, is a distressed list because the owner is not living there. And so therefore, if they're not living there, they don't have an emotional connection with the property, and therefore it's a good list to hit. So vacant land by its nature is a targeted list, and you don't really need to narrow it down any further. And probate, while you'll get certainly people who want to sell, it's going to take you a lot more. And maybe if you're doing higher dollar property in like hundreds of thousands of dollars in that range, it might be worth you to spend your time, go to the courthouse in whatever county, and pull those lists. And maybe if that's the niche that you're in, maybe that is worth it. And you'll have to go figure out how the county works their probate list, and it's probably the county courthouse. But anything short of where you're making $50,000+ in a deal, I don't think it's worth the extra effort. And especially if you're buying these properties for under like 20 grand, I think just you're better suited sending out direct mail to everyone. Andrew says, Scott, I've heard most investors saying stick with miscellaneous, less getting flagged.
That might be true. I don't know. I mean, at the beginning, I got flagged a couple times.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, maybe that's the issue. I honestly don't know why a lot of people are getting flagged. So maybe stick with miscellaneous. Maybe that is good advice if you are having issues with Facebook. And that could be good advice. And let's see who we got here. Yeah, this is Steve again. Homes make you choose rooms, etc., and you cannot choose 0 rooms. So is that related to his previous comment?
Maybe
you're talking about data tree.
Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Or maybe I think when he was talking about maybe the probate comment, I think. Was it Lisa that said that?
Got it. If you're talking about like data tree and narrowing down to vacant land, you just use the land use, but I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to. If you don't mind adding an additional comment there, Steve, would love to answer your question. Lisa says, vesting deed, can you access this yourself to cross-reference, or if an owner or seller no longer has it? Yeah, so in terms of getting vesting deeds, we also use data tree for that. And yeah, so data tree should have access to all the previous documents that were recorded at the county. So the county recorder records everything liens, judgments, deeds, affidavits, or whatever, and they will record it to the county, and then that's in line with all the documents associated with a particular APN, and then Data Tree gets access to all of the counties that it has, all the counties' information, all this data, and that's some of the data that they have access to. So Data Tree will provide that to you, and you could just you could easily find that on Data Tree.
Yeah, that's true. If you, for some reason, you don't find the vesting deed on Data Tree, your next step is to call the county because they have it. If they don't have it, there's something wrong with the property because that's if Data Tree, I would say 90% of the time they should have it. If they don't, you call the county recorder and then they ask you for the APN and you give them the APN and then they tell you the name of the owner of the property and then that's how you get the vesting. I had one situation like that where the vesting deed wasn't on Data Tree, and that's because the vesting deed was from 1991, where the owner bought the property for $10. That was the craziest I've ever seen. $10.
Yeah, and then
1991.
also if the county does not have it, then if the county does not have it, then you can contact a title company. And sometimes actually people do just put $10 on a deed. I don't know why that's the case. It's just in some states, in some areas, it's just common practice. I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
So let's see. Scott says you can choose 0, and that will default if it is if it to a studio.
I think he's talking about like the homes. I don't know what the subject is
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, he might be talking about targeting. I'm a little bit confused on that.
Yeah.
So Lisa says I do have Data Tree. Okay. So this is probably Steve. Good to know, but that is still confusing as to what we market. So how does it work? And I guess this is Scott going back and forth. Scott, if you don't mind answering Steve, because I'm a little bit confused. Lisa says, if I don't have the county and just the APN number in the state, can I still find the county? It's in through Data Tree. If I don't have the county, yeah. So you can do, if you go on Data Tree and you type in the state and then the county, you just type all available, just type in ALL and then it'll pop up, click all available and then type in the APN. And then if there's only one county that has that particular APN, and then you could click it there. So it's no problem if you don't have the county, you could back into it and figure it out. And then if there's multiple properties, if there's multiple counties that have that same APN scheme and same APN, then you can see all the owners and you should be able to back into which property it is based on who the owner name is. So that shouldn't be a problem, and hopefully that answers your question. Can you mention again the private group for the podcast on Airtable? Was the Fire Boss Real Estate Podcast? Did I hear that right? Yes, Steve, it is the Fire Boss Real Estate Podcast. If you go on to iTunes, or I think it's on Spotify, I hope it's on Spotify, you should be able to click it and subscribe, and then it should have a stupid picture. It's outdated. What's it called? What are those things called?
Yeah,
icon.
outdated.
Yeah,
outdated.
it looks stupid, but you can see my face on it, and so hopefully that'll be a dead giveaway. Lisa says, can you access directly through the county? Yes, you can. I access what directly through the county?
Well, what's the question? What can she access? Maybe
the documents, the vesting deed. So you can try to get that from the county. Yeah, if that is the question.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to pull plat maps from the county, you can do that too. Some, depending on how customer friendly counties are, they can actually send you a plat map instead of going to Data Tree. However, Data Tree is 100 times more convenient, but there are multiple ways to do it. So that is the questions for now. If anyone has any questions like to ask, please continue to chime in. Happy to address. But I want to get into, hopefully we answered a lot of the questions, but yeah, Omar, why don't we talk about your background, how you got started? Because a lot of people don't know who you are. Who are you? How did you get started? Why did you get started? And what have you been up to? What's your deal experience like? Just tell us about yourself.
So I mean, my name is Omar, obviously, but I started about a year ago, and before this, I was a full-time student. I didn't really I didn't really have anything else going for me. I just thought once I get out of school, that's when I started
Wait,
making
wait, hold
real
on, hold
money.
on. So he's a student, and for those of you who don't know, Omar is 14.
I'm actually 13, just turned 14 today. Just to make that clear.
No, I'm just kidding.
But
So how old are you?
I'm 20.
Okay, so Omar's 20, in college. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. Me and Willie aren't that far. Willie's 22 now.
22, 22. No, I'm 28. 28.
Close.
Close.
But yeah. So I was I was just going to school full time, and I didn't really get into real estate. I always thought I wanted to flip houses. Everybody was saying flip houses. Get 20K, put it into a house. And start buying a multi-family house, flip houses, and it was just like there's a whole mix, and that's why I kind of like never really got into real estate. And then like I met Paul. It's funny. I literally met Paul through wakeboarding, and we started talking about land, and he really introduced me to this business. So I didn't really like know anything about it, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna involve myself. But once I really saw, like this is like you don't have to go out to the property. There's no toilet leaks, there's no roof leaks. You just sell land online. It's all virtual, and there's not that many headaches. There's no maintenance fees you have to pay, and it's just straightforward. So since the beginning, till now, I've banged out 35 deals, and I think that's hell of a year. For me to be going from being a full time student, not making money to 35 deals. I think it's amazing. So that's a little bit about me, but I would say that land is has definitely been a breakthrough, especially with the COVID boom, especially with seeing everything from the beginning till now. I'm super grateful for what I've learned, but I think land is the way to go. Land is my future.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's great to hear your perspective. You're literally a student doing this part time. You're able to make it work and hopefully not have to get any set type of job afterwards and just earn some income and be free and be able to go wakeboarding whenever you want. That's the
That's the
goal. The goal
goal.
is not
That's the goal.
to it's not to get passive income. It's not to quit your job. It's to be able to go wakeboarding at 5 p.m. every day. That's the
That's
only goal.
That's really all. That's if I could have someone says sign this paper and you can have that for the rest of your life. Here's the pen. Where do I sign?
There you go. Um, there you go. And all right, looks like we got one more question here. If anyone has any final questions, please bring them now, and then otherwise we'll log off shortly. So Willie, you selling that course hard? Omar recaptioned that Facebook ad, 14-year-old by CPR with no driver's license flipping land for millions. There it is, Omar. Omar in the GTR. I love it. All right. So I guess that's it. And so this is going to be the final week that I offer this, and we got one more question before I come up with the offer. So Sharon Gordon Smith says, how can I find a mentor to help me get going? So Sharon, why don't you email me, Willie, WILLIE at landinvestingpros.com, and tell me what you're looking for, and maybe we can help you out. So Willie, WILLIE at landinvestingpros.com. And the offer, and this is the final time I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it next week, but I am going to be offering, again, anyone who signs up today, who sends me, you can either email me at that same email, Willie at landinvestingpros.com, or you shoot me a message on Facebook. I'm going to offer those 3 leads from our database. So we have overwhelming amount of people who want to sell their property. We haven't been able to go through it, and we're not going to be able to buy them all. And so why waste these properties in pre-vetted markets? So Paul and I have chosen these markets. We have handpicked them. And because the data suggests there's a good market, either we've bought property there before, or we know it's a good market, and we know that the property will sell for meaningfully more. And just for reference, we sell these properties at 5 to 6 times what we buy them for on owner finance terms. And so if you purchase the course today, send me a screenshot at willie at landinvestingpros.com. And so you've got until midnight tonight. And if you purchase the course, I will give you 3 leads from our database. So 3 willing sellers. and you will be able to sell those at a profit. And I'm not going to promise what profit. I will actually review the deal if you want me to. If you get a willing seller, say, hey, I'm willing to sell, and then you shoot me the APN, I will review it, and you will build equity into that property, and you will have the opportunity to make some money on those leads. So 3 leads. If you purchase the course tonight, send me a screenshot of the purchase and send it to me at Willie, WILLIE, at landinvestingpros.com. And I guarantee you will buy a property from one of the leads that we send you. And if you don't, we will send you some more leads. So that is the offer. Again, this is going to be the final time I'm going to offer it. And so that is my offer. And we got one more question here, and then we could log off. Hey, Willie, and this is from Dylan Bear. Dylan says, hey, Willie, just wondering if you ever are apprehensive about building a seller finance note portfolio if we start to experience higher inflation in the coming years. Would love to know your thoughts. So that is a interesting point. However, it's not something I'm concerned with. And the reason being is, say, inflation goes up from 3% to 4%. That's not really going to move the needle in terms of dictating whether or not our owner finance portfolio is worth its any more or any less. It's not going to impact the decision, though it is an interesting economic indicator, especially relevant now when the government's buying everything, but not something that influences my decision on whether or not I'm going to continue to owner finance. I think owner finance is proven to be the best way to sell property fast, and if you're not offering owner financing, you're doing something wrong. So that is my view. Mike says, how can you beat that deal? 3 leads. Hey, I'll take a few too. LOL. Mike, I love it. You have been a great customer. We love to have you. So unfortunately, can't dish out the leads. This is the last time I'm going to offer this, and because we want to keep the rest for ourselves, be a little greedy and buy those properties, I guess. So yeah. That's it. Omar, anything else from you?
Honestly, no. I want more people to come in and really, buy the course and become land investors, because this is the way. If you're not doing this, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree. And Mike, I saw some of your Facebook posts in some Facebook groups. Looked like you had the right thing going. So good job on that, by the way. So
Mike's been killing it lately.
Mike, has Mike been killing it? Mike, have you been killing it?
Yeah, he has this property that's actually super funny. This guy behind him built a road on the back of his property and dumped, like, I think it was like multiple trucks of sand over his property. So he's in like this lawsuit case where he's gonna get a lot of money. Some guy literally just built a road on top of his property.
Yeah, that happens from time to time. You got to be a little careful, but I've never had that happen where it's been an issue on reselling for profit. So there's a lot of things that can happen, but nothing really bad happens, at least from my 350 dump trucks.
Yeah, see what I mean? 350 dump trucks.
That's a more serious thing that I've never had happen. So I'm sorry to hear that, but
it's great news, actually.
That is very crazy. So I guess you got to be careful sometimes. But again, I've done hundreds and hundreds of deals, and that's never happened to me. So I honestly would not have gone that far to get the dump trucks. I probably would have just tried to dump the property at a really cheap price. But different ways to go about it. So hopefully 350 dump trucks, is that like trips?
No. Somebody, like, it wasn't Mike. I'm saying, like, the neighbor behind Mike dumped dump trucks on his property, building a road that goes on top of his property. So he's on his property.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's it. You got the group call tonight?
All right. No, we're not doing that tonight.
Oh, got it. Never mind.
We're scheduling for tomorrow.
Pushing it till tomorrow. Okay. And yeah, that's it. So for those of you who do not know, we've got group coaching calls every week, usually Tuesday nights, for those that sign up for the land flipping formula. And Omar, Carlo, and David usually are on those. So thanks everyone for listening, and have a wonderful evening.
See you, land investors.